Do you remember this story? I'm sure you do. Princeton students who wanted Woodrow Wilson's name removed from the school because they say he was racist. Well, now Princeton students are fighting back. Solveig is here, and are you leading the movement, fighting back to what the other students are doing?
Yes, I'm part of a group called the Princeton Open Campus Coalition, and we formed after the protests that took place 2 weeks ago when a group of students called the Black Justice League invaded President Eisgruber's office.
We have the video of that.
Right.
What are you doing?
So we wrote an open letter to President Eisgruber, and we posted it online. And in the days since posting that letter, we've received an outpouring of support across the nation from college students who are also feeling the same silencing of dissent on their college campuses.
Do the students have a point in going back in history 100 years and saying that guy was, by today's standards, he was a racist? Do they have a point?
I think it's good that we acknowledge the sins of our ancestors, but that doesn't mean that we whitewash history. It doesn't mean that we take his name off all of the buildings. We can acknowledge that Woodrow Wilson was a flawed man, indeed he was, but that doesn't mean that we then take his name off of everything and forget all the good things that he did, both for our school and for the nation.
But you're going to get a lot of heat for this.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you're going to be called a racist, aren't you?
Yes, that's exactly what's happening, and that's why we formed the Princeton Open Campus Coalition. Many students who were dissenting against the protesters were instantly labeled racist. We had many black students at Princeton who were opposed to the protests and opposed to the demands of the protesters. And as soon as they voiced their dissent, they were labeled white sympathizers. They were told they weren't really black. There's this idea that if you're not supporting this kind of agenda, that you are, not black, you're not part of the community that they're actually trying to support.
You don't appear to, I'm not going to say you don't mind the heat, but you don't seem to be affected by the heat that's coming at you.
No, I'm very willing to speak out. This is an issue I care very deeply about. But many of my classmates are not willing to speak out, and that's why we needed to form the Princeton Open Campus Coalition. We had
Have you got any idea how many people are in your group versus the group of students who were camping out in the President's office?
Well, you can compare the Facebook numbers. That's one way to weigh the two. But we don't really like to say that we're taking sides, per se. Okay. We want to represent the entire Princeton student body. As we fight for free academic speech, we're also fighting for the free academic speech of the protesters. So we don't like to say that we're taking sides per se. We represent students across campus, black, white, Hispanic, conservative, liberal, male, female, etc. We really span the spectrum of the campus. We had about 66 students before.
You're far too young to remember this, but back in my day, in the early 1960s, a guy called Mario Savio in Berkeley, California, started the free speech movement. It occurs to me that we've turned completely full circle, because now free speech is suppressed on American
I know, it's
campus.
amazing. And that's why we go to college. We go to college to, engage in free academic speech, and this is exactly what's being stopped.
Well, Solveig, I'm going to call you the Mario Savio of the century.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.
Come again soon. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay.